She put me on speaker. I could hear the echo of laughter before I even said a word. High-pitched, mocking, expensive laughter. The kind that fills marble kitchens and empty hearts. "It's over," she said, her tone light, rehearsed, meant for an audience. I didn't ask why. I didn't ask who was listening. I didn't even breathe for a moment. Then I said, "Okay, I understand," and I hung up. The laughter on her end died before my thumb hit the screen. I stood there in silence, phone still warm in my hand, the reflection of the house staring back at me through the dark window. Her house. Her friends called it that. Even though every inch of concrete, every line of design, every drop of sweat that held it together was mine. Outside, the motion lights came on. The night pressed against the glass like it wanted to come in. Somewhere in that vast, hollow mansion, I had left something behind, something she didn't deserve to keep. I didn't feel rage, not yet, just calculation. I remember thinking, let her laugh tonight. Tomorrow will sound different. It started a month earlier. A strange new perfume on her coat, one that didn't belong to her. A scent that lingered too long. Late-night phone calls that ended the second I walked into the room. The hollow excuses. Just clients. You know how women talk. She was a doctor now, a symbol of triumph in her circle. I had funded that triumph. 6 years of loans, overtime, missed birthdays. While she rose, I faded quietly into the background. I told myself it was love. She told herself it was strategy. There were little signs I had trained myself to ignore. The sudden change in passwords. The distance in her eyes when she kissed me goodnight. The way she smiled when she thought I wasn't looking, like a secret she was proud of. But that night, when she put me on speaker, I finally understood. This wasn't a breakup. It was a performance. A public execution meant to humiliate me in front of her new world. They wanted to hear her end me, and I gave them what they wanted. Silence. Because silence can be louder than rage. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I sat in the office, our office, surrounded by blueprints and files. My company had just finalized a $500 million acquisition. She didn't know yet. She had seen me as the man who paid, not the man who built. That was her mistake. Over the next week, I didn't confront her. I watched, listened, waited. I tracked the calls she made to her study group. Most went to a single number, his. A colleague, the one who always smiled too wide when I visited her hospital. I collected small truths like knives, her voice messages, her travel receipts, photos she never knew I could access from the cloud I still owned. Each discovery didn't hurt, it confirmed. By the fourth day, I stopped feeling anything at all. That's when clarity replaced pain. I transferred the title of the house to her name, quietly, legally, no warning. And then I stripped it. Every asset, every account, every equity share that tied her to my world. By the time she filed for divorce, she was already holding a hollow shell, a beautiful house, built on sand. A week later, the documents arrived, final, sealed, and irreversible. She met me at the cafe she once loved, neutral ground. She smiled like she was winning. "I just want to make this easy," she said. "You've been good to me." I nodded. "I know." She slid the papers across the table. "Sign them, and we can both move on." I signed without reading. Her smile widened. Relief, triumph, pity. Then I placed another envelope on the table. Thick, quiet. "What's that?" she asked. "Proof," I said. She hesitated before opening it. Inside were the photos, messages, receipts, her own words, her own betrayal. Her face changed color. Shock, then panic, then shame. I just watched. "How long have you?" "Long enough," I said. She opened her mouth to apologize, to spin, to beg. I stood up before she could finish. "I transferred the house to you," I said. "Congratulations." She blinked, confused. "You, what?" "You wanted to start your new life," I said softly. "Now you can." And then I left. The next morning, her father called her. The call wasn't calm. It was chaos. I wasn't there, but I can imagine it. The disbelief, the yelling, the horror in his voice. "The house!" he screamed. "Dear God, what did you just let him do to the house?" Because the house wasn't just walls and marble. It was collateral. I had used it to secure loans, investments, and the company. Sale, all of which were tied to me, not her. When she filed for divorce, when she forced that legal split, every agreement reset. Every debt transferred to her. Her house, her trophy, was now her liability. The mansion she flaunted on social media was being reclaimed, repossessed, and dissected by lawyers before she'd even finished breakfast. And she couldn't touch me, not legally, not emotionally, not anymore. I had left her everything she thought she wanted, minus the foundation that held it together. Her friends? Gone. Her pride? Shattered. Her name? Drowning under debt she couldn't pay. I didn't have to say a word. Silence was still louder. I drove past the house once, days later. No lights, no laughter. Just the echo of emptiness behind the locked gates. She had always loved how the sunset hit those windows. Now, the glass reflected nothing. I didn't stop. People think revenge feels like fire. It doesn't. It's cold, precise, surgical. It's the stillness after a storm, when the air smells like metal and something inside you finally settles. She thought she'd destroyed me for entertainment, but all she did was free me from her illusion. She built her laughter on my silence. Now her silence builds my peace. And as I drove away, I realized I didn't lose a wife. I just walked out of a burning house before it collapsed. And for the first time in years, the silence belonged to me.